Many people understand the base idea of bullying, the concept in which party A becomes a victim of party B through multiple means due to a certain circumstance. What's worse is that as time continues, this description of bullying morphs and evolves over time. The media has depicted bullying as something that is implicative of depression and anxiety, resulting in a person feeling ultimately defeated. But is that all there is to it? Does bullying have a long lasting effect on someone? And as time continues, how does technology affect bullying?
Okay, so what does this bullying do to a person? Well, bullying can affect the mental, physical, and emotional health of a person during childhood. And as stated by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the StopBullying.gov website, bullying is linked to many negative outcomes, including and not limited to mental health, substance use, and suicide. Along with the fact that kids who are bullied and can experience negative physical, social, emotional, and academic issues that may pertain to depression and anxiety, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness, changes in sleep and eating patterns, and loss of interest in activities they used to enjoy, these issues may persist into adulthood or even adolescence, and can lead to decreased academic achievement, aka lower GPA and standardized test scores, and school participation. Pretty overwhelming, isn't it? Well, although you think it is, this source, although trusted, did not have enough proficient evidence for us to be able to come to a proper conclusion, so it persisted and managed to stumble upon something really interesting and a really good source of statistics. And so, that was, drumroll please, cha-cha, the JAMA Psychiatry Research Papers, or for reading purposes, JAMA Psychiatry Research Papers. Now, these are very vital to our cause because this gave us a lot of pure statistics of what we can kind of draw a conclusion from, which I'm afraid to say now is quite a handful to read, but let me try. Without further ado, drumroll please. The JAMA Psychiatry Research Papers. Now, looking at this is probably just some random 36-page article that everyone would dread reading, but we found this quite interesting. Now, let me explain to you why. So, the JAMA Psychiatry Research Team managed to find 1,420 child participants between the ages of 9 through 16 in order to interview them about their experiences with bullying and how they've dealt with it. Sadly, from what I've read, there's not a lot that managed to come out of this unscathed. Let me explain. Based on tables that are given throughout the research paper, we managed to compile a lot of information explaining all of the depressive or any social disorder that was caused due to bullying. And here are the statistics. 8.1% of bully victims suffered from depression, 21.5% suffered from suicidality, 16.7% suffered from anxiety, 16.3% suffered from disruptive disorders, and 9.3% turned to substance use. Sadly, or awesomely, depending on where you're thinking about it, the JAMA Psychiatry Research Group managed to find some more interesting information from when these children grew up into adults. Out of 1,420 child participants, 83% of them agreed to have more interviews between the ages of 21 through 26. And here were the findings from these interviews. Oh boy, this is not going to be fun. Okay, out of 83% of 1,420 participants, 10.2% of young adults suffered from depressive disorders, 9.0% suffered from suicidality, 24.2% suffered from anxiety, 10.2% suffered from generalized anxiety, 13.4% suffered from panic disorders, 11.1% suffered from agoraphobia, 0.5% became antisocial, and 15.6% fell into alcoholism, with another 14.7% that turned to marijuana use. Looking at it, it's insanely eye-opening how I can't even explain it. It's just too wild to see drastic changes due to bullying. But no way it's just negatives, right? Well, thank you, disembodied voice in my head. You're exactly right. Let me give me a break for a second.
For those of you who don't understand what this graph is reading, this is a measurement of cortisol during a Trier social stress test. Cortisol is the main body stress hormone that increases heart rate, blood pressure, blood glucose respiration, and muscle tension, along with shutting down the body system that aren't needed in the face of a crisis. The Trier social stress test is a test of stress before, during, and after the deliverance of a free speech and performance of a mental arithmetic in front of an audience. And from what it looks like according to the graph, it seems victims of bullying are generally a tad more stressed during the delivering and pre-delivery, but will have a better time coping before and after the delivery. From what it looks like, Getting bullied leads to better stress coping. Well, you hear that, kids who took 5 APs? Just get someone to bully you and then you wouldn't be stressed out. I can't say that. Uh, my bad. Okay, so I've been just informed by my lawyer for legal reasons. That was a joke. Getting bullied to deal with stress is quite counterproductive, especially if you need it to cover for school, because being bullied at a younger age can hurt you academically.
Yes, bullying could actually ruin your academic future. Don't believe me? Look at this study on the effects of bullying on the academic achievement by Cynthia Cynthia Vanderwerf. Cynthia Vanderwerf. Okay, just Miss Werf. According to the abstract from the 34-page long paper, the effects of bullying is much stronger for younger students in the short term, but there are no differences by gender. However, in the long run, the existing differences disappear. Additionally, this document finds that there are differences in the relationship between the levels of bullying and academic performance depending on a student's academic achievements. If that all sounded like pure giggly gook and crazy talk, here's an easier explanation. People generally, anyone, anywhere, doesn't matter, will suffer academically if they're bullied. Some faring much worse than others. People like younger children, higher academically achievers, suffer greatly, but gender never accounts for any of this. From our context, this study was based on 2 vitally important exams that were sent to colleges. This, I'm pretty sure you all understand, CTs, definitely shifts direction for your life. And that's not the end of it. It's only just one big part of a whole.
Ah yes, the digital age, the place where many people can judge you silently and safely behind a screen, and there is not much a person can do about it. Generally understood, cyberbullying has mostly the same symptoms of in-person bullying. People who are cyberbullied are stated to have physical and psychological effects on a child. Anxiety, fear, depression, low self-esteem, behavior issues, and academic struggles are just a few challenges kids may experience if they are targets. But there is a difference. Cyberbullying can happen anywhere and at any time online. Most of the time, children who are victims don't know who is doing the bullying. Since cyberbullying is mostly online based through chat rooms, video games, or social media, many bullies feel like they are safer to carry these acts of bullying towards their victims. Most of the time, this bullying will occur due to less than a great cause. Research suggests that cyberbullying can occur as a result of social pressure, a way to alleviate boredom, a method for coping with low self-esteem, a lack of empathy, based on the belief that the victim deserved it, or carried out under the misconception that everyone cyberbullies. This is not only careless, but is also cruel. This is suggested that individuals who develop depression as a result of cyberbullying are also at greater risk of developing other mental issues such as self-harm and suicidal ideation. Many people don't understand their effect online and see their screen as a protective wall. This carelessness to another person's mental health is amplified in the cyberbullying world. Most of the social barriers put in place that protect the victim in the world are stripped away, leaving anything on the table for the bully to manipulate and torture. This adversely affects the victim severely with mental health problems. In the study by Valkenburg, he states that anxiety, depression, and suicide are among the highest amongst victims. He defines it as an adolescent's evaluation of their self-worth or satisfaction with 3 dimensions. Of these are physical appearance, romantic attractiveness, and the ability to form and maintain close friendships. We cannot let this continue under everyone's noses. Greater research needs to be done under the effects of cyberbullying and impacted most. It'll be in our best situation to help anyone we see that is struggling with mental issues or show signs of it, even if they ignore our help. Statistically, it has brought up more recovering victims from cyber effects than the hotline itself when shown data of recovery victims. Always check on your friends often. Talk to them if they're feeling alright, even if things seem normal. Cyberbullying is greatly underwatched and elusive to our research and can be more widespread than you think.
Bullying is a serious problem in schools today, and with the rise of technology, children are at greater risk of being bullied. Bullying has several consequences in any aspect, such as physical, mentally, or even legal damages. These symptoms can include the feeling of being alone and sad, higher health-related issues, and negative changes in eating patterns or activity with sleep. Some effects that children and adults go through after being bullied would be showing poor results in grades, lack of self-esteem, or even the abuse of substance. These effects are common, and typically the person that is being bullied wouldn't even realize it. Remember to check up on your friends and close ones about cyberbullying. If they have any trouble, don't force the situation and always be in and close ones about cyberbullying. If they have any trouble, don't force the situation and always be in the supporting role. We will combat the issue victim by victim. We know we cannot fully stop bullying, but helping every victim that we can reduce the losses even with one text.